Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Fremmer English Podcast, a space where we help you improve your English through long, natural conversations that are emotional, realistic, and deeply human. Today, we're exploring a topic that touches nearly every part of our lives, our jobs, the work we do each day, the responsibilities we carry, and the emotions we experience as we move through our professional lives.
Yes, and before we get started, we'd like to gently remind you to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Your support helps us continue creating these extended storytelling episodes filled with natural English expressions, emotional depth, and real-life vocabulary that builds confidence and fluency. Now, let's begin this journey and talk about our work in a way that feels thoughtful, honest, and truly meaningful.
You know, when I think about my job, it's interesting how many mixed emotions come with it: pride, stress, excitement, and sometimes even confusion, because a job isn't just something we do to earn money. It becomes a huge part of our identity and our daily rhythm.
I completely understand that because my job also brings different feelings depending on the day. The workload, the people I interact with, and even my own energy. Sometimes I feel inspired and motivated, and other times I feel tired or overwhelmed. But all of those emotions are part of the working experience.
To describe my job more concretely, I work in an office where I manage several projects at the same time, which means I'm constantly checking emails, planning schedules, organizing tasks, and making sure everything runs smoothly, even when unexpected problems come up.
That sounds familiar because in my job, I also handle multiple responsibilities. I communicate with clients, prepare reports, attend meetings, and sometimes solve issues that require quick thinking. It can be challenging, but it also pushes me to grow and learn new skills.
One thing I actually enjoy about my job is the sense of structure it gives my day. Knowing that I have clear tasks, a routine, and goals makes me feel productive and grounded, even on the days when the work feels heavy.
Yes, having structure is comforting, especially when life outside of work feels unpredictable. My job gives me a sense of direction, like each day has a purpose. And even small achievements, finishing a task or solving a problem, make me feel capable and balanced.
Of course, there are stressful moments too, especially when deadlines come closer or when unexpected tasks suddenly appear, forcing me to reorganize everything. Those moments can be frustrating, but they also teach me patience and problem solving.
I completely agree. Deadlines can create pressure, and sometimes I feel my heart beat faster when I have too many things to finish in a short time. But I've learned that staying calm, taking small steps, and asking for help when needed can make a big difference.
One thing that really shapes my work experience is the people I work with. Some colleagues are supportive, encouraging, and easy to communicate with, while others can be more difficult. But I guess that's part of working in any team.
Oh yes, relationships at work play such a huge role in how we feel each day. When the environment is friendly and cooperative, even a busy day feels manageable. But when there's tension or miscommunication, the smallest tasks can suddenly feel much heavier.
I've noticed that communication is one of the most important skills in my job. Even if I know my tasks well, I still need to explain things clearly, ask good questions, and make sure everyone understands the plan, so we can work together effectively.
Communication is key in my job too, whether I'm talking to clients, coworkers, or managers. I have to express ideas in a clear, professional, and friendly way. It's a skill that I've improved over time, and I'm still learning every day.
Sometimes I wonder what my job would feel like if I didn't have supportive colleagues, because knowing that there are people who understand your challenges and celebrate your achievements makes the experience much more meaningful.
I feel that deeply. Having supportive colleagues can turn a stressful day into a manageable one, and having difficult colleagues can turn a simple day into an emotional challenge. People really do shape the workplace atmosphere.
Another part of my job is attending meetings, and to be honest, some meetings are useful while others feel unnecessary. But I try to stay patient and find value in each one, even if it's just understanding what others are working on.
I understand completely. Some meetings energize me because they bring new ideas or solutions, but others can feel repetitive or too long. Still, meetings help us stay connected as a team, and they improve our communication.
One of the things I appreciate about my job is that it challenges me mentally. There are days when I have to think creatively, solve complicated problems, or make important decisions, and those moments make me feel capable and confident.
I love that feeling too, when a difficult task finally becomes clear, or when I find a solution after trying many approaches. It gives me a sense of accomplishment that reminds me why my job is valuable.
Of course, there are days when everything feels heavy, when I'm tired, when the workload is too big, or when I feel emotionally drained, and on those days, I try to remind myself that it's okay to slow down and breathe.
Yes, we all have days like that. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed, and even simple tasks feel difficult. When that happens, I try to take short breaks, drink water, stretch, or talk to someone I trust. Those small actions help me reset.
Before we continue, I want to gently remind our listeners to subscribe, like, comment, and share, because your support truly motivates us to create deeper, longer, more emotional English learning episodes like this one.
Yes, and we would love to hear about your job, what you do, how you feel about it, what challenges you face, so please feel free to share in the comments. Your stories inspire us and help this community grow.
You know, one thing I've learned over the years is that a job doesn't define who I am, but it does shape many of my habits. Waking up early, organizing my time, communicating professionally, and those habits help me in my personal life too.
That's so true. Work habits become life habits. I've noticed that because of my job, I've become more responsible, more punctual, and more comfortable speaking with different types of people.
Sometimes I think about how my job has changed me emotionally. For example, I've become more patient, more disciplined, and more aware of how I handle pressure. These skills didn't come naturally, they developed slowly through experience.
I can relate. My job has taught me emotional skills that I never learned in school. Staying calm, adapting to change, accepting feedback, and working with people whose personalities are very different from mine.
One of the most meaningful parts of my job is seeing the results of my work, when a project is completed, when a client is satisfied, or when a team member thanks me for helping them. Those moments remind me that my work has purpose.
Yes, seeing the impact of your work, even in small ways, makes everything feel worth it. For me, when someone appreciates my effort, or when something I created helps someone else, it brings a warm feeling of fulfillment.
There are also times when I question my job, wondering if it's the right path, if I should try something new, or if I'm truly happy. I think questioning is normal. It helps us understand what we really want.
I experience that too. Sometimes I dream about different careers or imagine myself doing something completely new. But those thoughts help me understand my values and whether my job still aligns with them.
One thing I try to practice is gratitude, reminding myself that having a stable job, a supportive team, and opportunities to grow is something not everyone has, and this perspective helps me appreciate my work more.
Yes, gratitude changes everything. When I focus on the positive aspects of my job, the skills I gain, the people I meet, the experiences I collect, I feel more motivated and less exhausted by the difficulties.
Still, I won't deny that some days drain me emotionally. After long hours of work, I sometimes go home feeling empty, and on those days, I try to give myself rest without guilt.
I know exactly what you mean. Some days are mentally heavy, and we carry the stress into the evening. That's when self-care becomes so important. Resting, eating well, spending time with loved ones, or simply doing nothing.
Another thing that affects my job experience is the commute. Some mornings, the commute feels peaceful, listening to music or a podcast, but other mornings it feels stressful, especially when there is traffic or I'm rushing.
My commute also affects my mood. When it's quiet and smooth, I arrive at work feeling calm. But when it's crowded or noisy, I sometimes arrive already tired, which makes the day feel longer.
I also think about the work-life balance, trying to find time for myself outside of work, to do things that bring me joy, like hobbies, exercise, or spending time with family. Without balance, even a good job becomes a burden.
Yes, balance is essential. When I work too much, I feel disconnected from my personal life, but when I rest and do things I love, I return to work with more energy, creativity, and patience.
Before we continue, let me gently remind everyone listening to subscribe, like, comment, and share, because your engagement supports this podcast and helps us create these long, meaningful conversations for English learners everywhere.
Yes, thank you for being here with us. Your presence and support are what keep this podcast alive, emotional, and full of stories that help you practice English naturally.
When I think about my job, I also think about how much I've grown, not just professionally, but personally. Work has shaped my confidence, my independence, and my understanding of responsibility.
I agree. Our jobs often become places where we discover who we are capable of becoming. And the challenges we face at work can turn into valuable lessons that carry into every part of our life.
There are moments at work when I feel proud, not because I'm perfect, but because I know I've improved, or because I handled a difficult situation better than I would have a few years ago.
That feeling is so important. Recognizing our progress reminds us that growth is happening, even if we don't always notice it day by day.
Sometimes I talk to co-workers about our dreams and goals, and it's interesting to hear how different people imagine their futures. Some want promotion, some want career change, some want stability, and some dream of starting their own business.
Yes, hearing others talk about their goals can be inspiring. It reminds me that everyone is on their own journey, with different motivations and fears, and that we should support each other instead of comparing ourselves.
Talking about all this makes me appreciate my job even more, because it's not just work. It's a place where I learn, grow, connect, struggle, succeed, and discover new sides of myself.
And I feel the same. Our jobs shape us in ways we rarely think about, and reflecting on them helps us understand our emotional relationship with work, our strengths, and the areas where we still want to grow.
You know, the more I talk about my job, the more I realize how much of my identity has been shaped by the everyday routines I follow. Waking up early, preparing for the day, checking my tasks, interacting with people, and these small, repeated actions slowly become part of who I am.
Yes, I feel the same because the structure of my job almost becomes the structure of my life. The way I plan my mornings, the way I communicate, the way I manage stress, all of it is influenced by the responsibilities I carry at work. And sometimes I don't even notice how much it shapes me until I think about it like this.
Another thing I find interesting is how my emotions toward my job change depending on what's happening in my life. When I'm feeling confident and balanced, work feels easier, but when I'm tired or stressed, even the simplest tasks seem heavier.
I completely understand that emotional shift, because my connection to my job also depends on my energy, my health, and my mindset. Some days I walk into the office feeling motivated and ready, and other days I need a few quiet minutes just to gather myself and begin.
Something that has helped me enjoy my job more is trying to find meaning in the small tasks, even when something feels repetitive or boring. Reminding myself that it contributes to a bigger purpose makes it feel more valuable.
That's a beautiful mindset, because I've learned that finding meaning doesn't always come from big achievements. Sometimes it comes from knowing that you are helping someone, improving a process, or simply doing something with care.
I also try to build small habits that make my workday feel lighter. For example, organizing my desk before I start, taking a short walk during lunchtime, or listening to calming music while working on complex tasks.
I do similar things. I make myself a warm drink before starting, write down 3 important tasks for the day, and take deep breaths when I feel overwhelmed. These habits help me stay calm and focused, even during stressful moments.
One of the biggest challenges in my job is managing time effectively. There are days when everything feels urgent, and I have to decide what to handle first, which can be stressful because I want to do everything well.
Time management is also something I struggle with, especially when unexpected tasks appear out of nowhere. But I've learned that prioritizing, communicating, and being realistic with deadlines can make a huge difference in how productive and peaceful my day feels.
Something that really helps is supporting each other as a team. When someone is overwhelmed, we try to share the workload, and that teamwork creates a sense of unity that makes even difficult days feel more manageable.
Teamwork is essential. I've noticed that when the atmosphere in the office is supportive, everyone feels more motivated. But when the environment is tense or competitive, the workday becomes emotionally draining.
Before we continue, I want to gently remind our listeners to subscribe, like, comment, and share, especially if this conversation is helping you learn how to talk about your job in English naturally and confidently.
Yes, and please feel free to share in the comments what your job is, what you enjoy about it, and what challenges you face. Your stories make this community richer, and we love learning about your experiences.
I've also realized that my job teaches me about patience with people, patience with myself, and patience with processes that take longer than I expect. Learning patience has made me more emotionally balanced.
Patience is such an important skill at work. Waiting for responses, dealing with delays, managing stress, and the more patient I become, the more I enjoy my job and feel in control of my emotions.
One of the most rewarding parts of my job is seeing how things improve over time, especially when I look back at old projects and see how much better I've become at planning, solving problems, and communicating.
Yes, seeing our own growth is incredibly motivating. When I look back at older work, I realize how much I've improved, and that gives me confidence to keep learning and pushing myself toward new goals.
Sometimes, though, I also feel uncertain, wondering if I'm choosing the right path, if my work is meaningful, or if I should explore something new. Those thoughts can be confusing but also exciting.
I relate to that so much. Career uncertainty is normal, and sometimes it even helps us grow because it pushes us to reflect, learn more about ourselves, and make decisions that bring us closer to the life we want.
Another interesting thing is how my job teaches me emotional intelligence, understanding people's moods, communicating respectfully, and knowing when to speak and when to listen.
Yes, emotional intelligence is one of the most important skills in any job. Being able to read situations, calm tensions, and treat people gently makes the workplace more harmonious and productive.
Something I used to struggle with was asking for help. I thought it made me look weak or unprepared. But now I realize that asking for help is actually a sign of strength, confidence, and teamwork.
That's such an important realization. Asking for help not only reduces stress, but also builds trust between coworkers. It shows that we value collaboration and want to do things the right way.
I also appreciate the moments when work slows down, when the office is quiet, the tasks are calm, and I can take my time to organize my thoughts. Those peaceful days help me recharge.
Yes, I love those days too, when I can work slowly, breathe more deeply, and enjoy the process instead of rushing. Those moments remind me that work doesn't always have to be stressful.
But of course, there are also days when everything is chaotic, multiple messages, unexpected problems, tight deadlines, and I have to keep my mind focused even when I feel overwhelmed.
I know that feeling well. Those days require so much emotional strength. But I've learned that staying calm, doing one thing at a time, and communicating honestly helps the day move more smoothly.
Something else I find meaningful is the sense of purpose I get when my work helps someone, even if it's something small like answering a question, giving advice, or solving a minor issue. It feels good to make someone's day easier.
Yes, helping others at work brings a deep sense of connection. Even small acts of service, listening to someone's concerns, or giving useful information create an atmosphere of kindness and trust.
Before we continue, I want to remind our listeners once again to subscribe, like, comment, and share, because your support really helps this podcast grow and reach more learners who want to practice English naturally.
Yes, and thank you for being here with us. Your engagement, your comments, and your stories inspire us to keep creating long, meaningful conversations like this one.
Something else I've been thinking about is how motivation works at my job. Some days I feel full of energy and passion, and other days I have to push myself to stay focused and productive. Motivation is unpredictable but essential.
I agree. Motivation changes depending on our mood, health, environment, and even the weather sometimes. That's why building discipline is important, because discipline keeps us moving even when motivation is low.
I've also learned the importance of taking breaks. Without breaks, I become tired quickly. But even a 5-minute pause to stretch or breathe can refresh my mind and renew my energy.
Yes, breaks are necessary. Sometimes when I feel stuck on a difficult task, stepping away for a moment helps me come back with a clearer mind and a much better solution.
Another part of my job I enjoy is learning new things, new tools, new strategies, new skills, and every new lesson makes me feel more confident and ready for bigger responsibilities.
Continuous learning is one of my favorite aspects too. It keeps the job interesting, helps me grow professionally, and prepares me for future opportunities that I might not even expect yet.
Sometimes I imagine what my job will look like in the future, whether I'll move to a higher position, change careers, or work in a completely different environment. And thinking about those possibilities makes me feel both excited and nervous.
I imagine my future too, and even though I don't know exactly where I'll end up, I trust that every experience I'm having now is preparing me for the next chapter of my professional life.
Something I really value is when my manager or co-workers appreciate my work. Even a simple good job or thank you makes me feel seen and respected, and it motivates me to do even better.
Appreciation is powerful. When someone recognizes my effort, I feel more connected to the team and more confident in my abilities. It's amazing how a few positive words can change our whole day.
But of course, sometimes we receive criticism too. And while it can feel uncomfortable, I try to see it as an opportunity to improve rather than as something negative.
That's a mature way to see it. Constructive criticism has helped me grow so much, even though it sometimes hurts my ego at first. Over time, I realized that feedback is a gift that helps me become better.
As we reach the halfway mark of this conversation, I can't help but feel grateful for everything I've learned through my job, the skills, the challenges, the relationships, and the confidence that slowly grows with each experience.
Yes, reflecting on our jobs like this makes me appreciate the small victories, the difficult lessons, and the personal growth that happens in the background of our everyday routine.
Before we move to the next section, let me gently remind everyone listening to subscribe, like, comment, and share, especially if this conversation is helping you understand how to talk about your job in a natural and emotional way.
Yes, your support means so much to us, and it helps us continue creating long, detailed, meaningful episodes that make English learning feel warm, human, and connected to real life.
Talking about my job like this helps me process my experiences in a deeper way. It reminds me of what I enjoy, what I struggle with, and what I want to improve in the future.
I feel exactly the same. This conversation makes me reflect on my journey, my strengths, my challenges, and the ways my job continues to shape the person I'm becoming.
The more I reflect on my job, the more I realize that every task, every conversation, every moment of stress or success becomes part of a larger story. A story of professional growth, personal development, and emotional resilience that I often forget to appreciate in the middle of rushing through my daily work.
Yes, and when we slow down enough to think about everything we've learned, everything we've overcome, and everything we've contributed, it becomes clear that our job isn't just a place where we work. It's a place where we evolve and discover new parts of ourselves.
Sometimes I look back at how I used to work in my first year, how nervous I was, how unsure I felt, how slowly I completed tasks, and I realize how much I've grown simply by showing up every day and trying my best, even when things felt difficult.
I relate to that so strongly because when I think about my early days at work, the mistakes I made, the challenges I faced, the conversations that made me anxious, I can see how those experiences built the confidence and skill I have now.
One of the most surprising things I've learned in my job is that growth doesn't always feel comfortable. Sometimes it feels like confusion, like pressure, like being pushed beyond what you think you can handle. But in the end, those are the moments that shape you the most.
Exactly. Growth often feels uncomfortable because it requires us to stretch our abilities, challenge our old habits, and face situations that we've never experienced before. But every time we make it through, we become stronger.
Another important part of my job, adapting to change. New systems, new co-workers, new responsibilities, all of these require flexibility, and the more I practice adapting, the more confident I feel in my ability to handle anything that comes my way.
Change is constant in my job too, and even though it can feel overwhelming at first, I've learned that embracing change instead of resisting, it makes the process much smoother and allows me to grow more quickly.
Sometimes, during difficult periods at work, I ask myself what truly motivates me. Is it the paycheck, the routine, the desire to improve, or the satisfaction of contributing something meaningful? And the answer changes depending on the season of my life.
That's such an honest reflection, because motivation isn't a fixed thing. It shifts with our emotions, our goals, and our circumstances. Some days we're driven by passion, and on other days we're driven simply by responsibility.
Before we continue, I want to gently remind our listeners to subscribe, like, comment, and share, especially if these long, reflective conversations help you learn English in a natural, meaningful way.
Yes, your support truly helps us continue creating emotional, thoughtful episodes like this one, Scott, and it means so much to us to see your comments and hear your stories about your own working lives.
Another aspect of my job that I've come to appreciate is the opportunity to meet people from different backgrounds. Each co-worker brings their own experiences, strengths, and personalities, and working together teaches me to be more open-minded and understanding.
Yes, working with diverse people is one of the most beautiful parts of any job, because it widens our perspective, teaches us empathy, and helps us become better communicators and collaborators.
I also value the independence my job has taught me. Knowing how to manage my time, organize my tasks, and take responsibility for my decisions has helped me grow not only professionally, but also personally.
Independence is one of the greatest skills we gain through work, and the confidence that comes from depending on yourself. Trusting your judgment and handling challenges makes life outside of work easier too.
There are moments when I imagine what my life would look like without this job, whether I would be happier, more stressed, or more lost. And those thoughts make me appreciate the stability, purpose, and structure my job provides.
I imagine that too sometimes, and it helps me see the value of what I do each day. Even when the work is challenging or repetitive, it's still contributing something meaningful to my life.
Another thing I've learned is how important it is to separate my identity from my job. While work is important, it shouldn't completely define who I am, and remembering that helps me maintain emotional balance.
Yes, separating work from self-worth is crucial, because if we tie our entire identity to our job, then mistakes feel like failure as a person, and that's not fair to ourselves.
Sometimes when I feel tired or demotivated, I remind myself that rest is part of productivity. Without rest, creativity disappears, patience disappears, and even small tasks become difficult.
Rest truly is essential. When I give myself time to recharge, I come back to work feeling more inspired, more focused, and more able to handle challenges with a calm mind.
Another thing I appreciate about my job is the moments of human connection. A smile from a co-worker, a short conversation in the hallway, a shared joke. These small interactions make the workday feel lighter.
Yes, those small moments of connection are so important. They remind us that work isn't just tasks and deadlines, it's also relationships, support, and shared energy.
Sometimes I think about how I want my future job to feel: meaningful, balanced, challenging, but not overwhelming, and imagining that future helps me understand what I value today.
I do that too, envisioning the kind of work environment I want, the type of people I hope to work with, and the way I want to feel each morning helps guide my decisions and goals.
Another skill my job has taught me is problem solving. Not just solving problems quickly, but solving them calmly, logically, and with patience, even when the situation feels stressful.
Problem solving is one of the most useful skills we develop at work. because it trains our minds to think clearly under pressure and to find solutions instead of panicking.
I also try to remind myself not to compare my career path to others. Everyone grows at their own pace, and comparing only creates unnecessary pressure and sadness.
That's such an important point. Everyone's journey is different. And when we stop comparing, we can focus on our own progress and appreciate how far we've come.
Before we continue, I want to gently remind our listeners once again to subscribe, like, comment, and share, because your engagement supports this podcast and helps us reach more learners around the world.
Yes, thank you for being with us. Your support keeps us motivated to create long, thoughtful, human-centered conversations that help you practice English naturally and emotionally.
Another thing I find interesting is how work can change our personality over time, teaching us responsibility, patience, communication, and even emotional control, which makes us more balanced individuals.
Yes, work shapes us in ways we don't always notice until we look back and realize how much more confident, organized, and emotionally strong we've become.
Sometimes, after a long workday, I reflect on the moments that brought me joy, a task completed, a kind message, a successful project, and those moments make the hard parts feel worthwhile.
I love those reflections too. They remind me that even in stressful days, there are small victories that show we are moving forward, growing, and doing our best.
Another meaningful aspect is knowing that my work contributes to something bigger, maybe not always in obvious ways, but in small, steady, important ways that make a difference for someone.
That sense of purpose is so powerful. Even when the work feels simple, if it helps someone, solves a problem, or creates something useful, it becomes meaningful.
I also try to communicate more openly at work, expressing my ideas, my concerns, and my needs, because good communication creates stronger relationships and a healthier work environment.
Open communication is essential. When we speak honestly and respectfully, misunderstandings disappear, trust grows, and teamwork becomes smoother and more enjoyable.
One of the most important lessons I've learned is that mistakes are part of the job. Everyone makes them, and instead of feeling ashamed, I try to use them as opportunities to improve.
Yes, mistakes teach us far more than perfect days ever can. Every mistake helps us grow, learn, and refine our skills, and over time, they become stepping stones instead of failures.
Another thing I reflect on is how my job pushes me to stay organized, keeping my workspace tidy, planning my schedule, and breaking tasks into smaller steps helps me stay focused and productive.
Organization makes such a big difference. When my workspace is clean and my tasks are clear, my mind feels calm, and I can work more efficiently and peacefully.
As I think about everything we've talked about today, the challenges, the growth, the emotions, I realize that our jobs shape us every single day, sometimes in obvious ways, and sometimes so quietly that we don't notice until we look back.
Yes, our jobs influence our habits, our mindset, our confidence, and even our relationships. And reflecting on all of this helps us appreciate the journey we're on.
Before we move into the final part of this episode, I want to remind our listeners once more to subscribe, like, comment, and share, because your support allows us to continue creating long, thoughtful episodes like this.
Yes, and thank you for staying with us all the way through. Your presence makes these conversations meaningful, warm, and worth creating.
Talking about my job today has helped me reflect on what truly matters, not just the tasks, but the growth, the relationships, the emotions, and the lessons that come with each day.
I feel the same. This conversation has helped me see my job with fresh eyes, and I'm grateful for everything it has taught me and continues to teach me.
As we move into the final part of our conversation, I realize that work, in many ways, is like a long journey, full of challenges, discoveries, unexpected moments, and lessons that slowly shape our character over time.
Yes, and when we think of our job as a journey instead of just a responsibility, we begin to see each day, each task, each interaction as part of a bigger picture, a picture of growth, connection, and personal evolution.
Something that has become clear to me over the years is that a job doesn't have to be perfect to be meaningful. Even a job with challenges, stress, and imperfections can still contribute something valuable to our lives.
I agree completely. Sometimes the jobs that challenge us the most are the ones that teach us the most. And those lessons stay with us long after we leave the office.
One of the most emotional aspects of work is realizing how much we've changed from the person we were when we first started. More confident, more patient, more skilled, and more aware of our strengths.
Yes, when we look back, we see how every difficult task, every stressful day, every achievement, and even every mistake helped shape the stronger, wiser person we are now.
I also value the sense of independence my job has given me, the ability to make decisions, solve problems on my own, and trust my judgment in moments of uncertainty.
Independence is such an important part of work because it helps us build confidence, take responsibility, and feel capable even in challenging situations.
Before we continue to our final reflections, let me gently remind our listeners once again to subscribe, like, comment, and share, especially if this episode has helped you think about your job in a deeper, more emotional way.
Yes, your support means so much to us. And it encourages us to keep creating episodes that connect English learning with real human experiences and emotions.
Another thing I've learned from my job is resilience. The ability to keep going even when things are difficult, to stay calm under pressure, and to trust that I can overcome whatever challenge appears.
Resilience is a skill that work teaches us quietly, day by day. And often we don't even realize we've developed it until we face something tough and handle it better than we expected.
I also appreciate the small routines that make my workday feel comfortable. Making a warm drink in the morning, organizing my notes, greeting my co-workers, and taking a moment to breathe before starting my tasks.
Those routines are comforting because they give us a sense of stability. And even on stressful days, they help us feel grounded and ready to begin.
Sometimes, I also think about how different my life would be if I had chosen a different job, not out of regret, but out of curiosity, imagining other paths, other offices, other experiences.
I imagine that too. And thinking about those alternate futures helps me understand what I value in my current job and what I hope to find in my future career.
One of the most important lessons I've learned is that balance is essential. Without balance, even good work becomes exhausting, and with balance, even difficult work becomes manageable.
Balance truly changes everything. It helps us stay healthy, happy, and connected to our personal lives, which makes us better workers and better human beings.
Something else I appreciate is the feeling of finishing a workday. That quiet moment of satisfaction when I realize I did my best, even if the day wasn't perfect.
Yes, that moment of closing the laptop or leaving the office is so comforting. It's like a gentle reminder that we deserve rest, that we gave our energy, and that tomorrow is a fresh start.
Before we close this episode, I want to express gratitude to everyone listening. Thank you for spending this time with us, reflecting with us, and learning with us through this long, meaningful conversation.
Yes, thank you for being part of this journey. Your presence makes these episodes feel alive, warm, and deeply connected, and we appreciate you more than you know.
As we move toward the end, I hope this conversation helped you think about your own job, the things you love, the things you want to improve, and the ways your job has shaped your life.
And I hope it also helped you learn how to express these thoughts in English with emotion, clarity, and natural vocabulary that reflects real life.
Working is not always easy, but it teaches us strength, patience, discipline, and resilience, and those qualities help us grow far beyond the workplace.
Yes, work is a teacher disguised as responsibility, and the lessons we learn become part of who we are, both professionally and personally.
Before our final words, let me remind you one last time to subscribe, like, comment, and share, because your support keeps this podcast going and growing.
Yes, thank you for supporting us. Every comment, every share, every like means the world to us and helps more learners discover these emotional English learning episodes.
As we close today's episode, I hope you carry with you a sense of pride for the work you do. No matter what your job is, and a deeper understanding of how valuable your presence and effort truly are.
And I hope you feel encouraged to continue learning English in a way that feels warm, human, and connected, because language is not just words. It's emotion, experience, and communication.
Thank you for being here with us today, for listening with an open heart, and for allowing this conversation to become part of your learning journey.
Yes, thank you for your time, your attention, and your willingness to grow through these episodes. It is an honor to share these moments with you.
As you continue through your week, I hope you feel balanced, confident, and supported, both at work and in your personal life.
And I hope you remember to rest, to breathe, to take care of yourself, and to appreciate the strength you show every day.
No matter what challenges you face at work, remember that you are capable, adaptable, and worthy of success, and that each day brings a new opportunity to grow.
Yes, and remember that learning English is also a journey, one that requires patience, practice, and kindness to yourself as you improve step by step.
We are grateful to be part of your English learning experience and to accompany you with conversations that reflect real emotions, real situations, and real human stories.
And we hope you continue joining us, because every episode is created with care, warmth, and the sincere desire to help you communicate more confidently in English.
This is your host, wishing you clarity, focus, and peace as you navigate your work and your daily life.
And I'm wishing you motivation, balance, and gentle moments of joy throughout your week.
Thank you once again for spending this time with us. Your presence makes all the effort worthwhile.
Yes, thank you for listening, learning, and growing with us today.
We truly look forward to meeting you again in our next episode, where we'll dive into another meaningful topic and continue supporting you as you grow, step by step, on your English learning journey.
Yes, and until that time comes, please take good care of yourself. Stay curious about the world around you, and keep practicing English in a way that feels comfortable, natural, and genuinely enjoyable for you.
Always remember that even the smallest effort you make matters. Each word you practice and each moment you learn brings you closer to fluency. So keep moving forward, keep learning, and never stop believing in yourself.
And may everything that matters to you, your work, your relationships, and your dreams, continue to grow alongside you. Slowly and steadily, step by step, and day by day.
This has been the Frema English Podcast, a space created to guide you through English with emotion, depth, and expressions drawn from real life.
And we are truly grateful to share this journey with you. Thank you for listening, for learning, and for being a valued part of our growing community.
We'll see you in the next episode, where new stories, meaningful lessons, and thoughtful reflections are waiting to inspire and support you.
Until next time, stay kind to yourself and others. Stay curious about the world. Stay well rested, and keep learning with love, patience, and confidence.